Hello guys, my name is Jun and welcome to my mini garage. For the past year or so, I have been slowly shifting from building shiny new cars to old, beat up and abandoned project cars. So in this video, I wanna share some of the weathering techniques I have learned and used on my models. Let's get started. If you build models at all, you probably already have a bottle of this. It's the Tamiya Line Accent Color, or you can simply call it Black Wash. It was the very first bottle of paint I bought when I first started building models. There are a few colors to choose from, but these are the 3 colors I use the most. You might have already seen model builders use this to fill in the panel lines. The thin black paint darkens the panel lines, giving them the illusion of shadow and depth. The consistency is very thin, so it flows right into the small gaps and crevices rather easily. And because it's enamel based, it's not gonna hurt any lacquered and acrylic paint. And to clean up the excess, you can just simply wipe it off with lighter fluid. A dark wash is specifically useful for bringing out small details from parts in silver metallic base. I mostly use it on chassis, suspension components, engine parts, and transmission, usually places where oil and grease naturally form and accumulate in real life. Applying dark wash is the least you can do to enhance the details of your models. Sometimes a simple wash is all you need to change the entire look of your project. I generally don't apply dark wash over freshly painted surface unless my goal is to make the model look grimy or abandoned. If that is the case, I would first paint the model using flat clear before applying the wash. Then I would soak up some of it using a piece of small sponge. The sponge would create natural and random patterns on the surface. And if you are planning to do what I do, please remember to wear a mask when working with enamel thinner because the film is toxic. If you have OCD, then you might want to skip this part of the video, because there will be plenty of triggers. But if you don't have OCD and you happen to have an old car, then you should know oil leaks are a pretty common occurrence among old cars. An oil leak is generally bad for your vehicle, but it's actually pretty easy to create for scale models. You can use any gloss black paint, but I like to use Tamiya Smoke, which is a clear paint with a little bit of black in the mix. It's important to know when applying oil leaks, the location of the leakage should be logical. You wouldn't want to apply oil leaks to places where they shouldn't be. For instance, the oil wouldn't be leaking from the tires or the roof of the car. I mostly apply the leak directly to the bottom of the engine oil pan and the transmission with a brush. If you have ever had a chance to look at an old and leaky engine closely, you will notice that the oil usually leaks from the cam cover or the engine oil pan, or both. Tamiya Smoke can also be used to imitate exhaust residue. Race cars usually run rich, meaning the fuel isn't completely burned before exiting the engine. An unburned fuel will leave black marks on the bumpers. The undercarriage of a used car isn't usually smooth. If a car has been driven on the road, it can be muddy and dusty. Even a brand new car would have some sort of rust-proofing undercoats on the chassis. The rough textures of the chassis can be reproduced by applying Tamiya's white putty to the areas where you want the textures to appear. I usually add a few drops of thinner so it stays wet for a little longer, and I use an old brush for the application. If you don't have any lacquer-based putty, you can still use modeling cement or even lacquer thinner. The lacquer thinner will attack and dissolve the plastic, creating rough textures. Again, remember to wear a respirator because the film is harmful. This step is better to be done in the preparation stage before anything is painted on, because Tamiya's putty is lacquer based, meaning it will dissolve your lacquer and acrylic paint. And don't sweat it if it doesn't look right in the beginning, it will look pretty convincing after it's painted. If you don't want to bother with the putty, you should at least spray a couple coat of earth tone colors to make it look dusty, which is what I've been doing in the past. Paint chips and scratches are usually found on places where there will be constant contacts. Places like the edges of the chassis will suffer the most from scraping against the ground, especially if the car is lowered. Usually when the paint is damaged, the material underneath will be revealed. In the case of cars, that material would be bare metal. The texture of bare metal could be reproduced by using silver metallic paint. I've been using Tamiya's aluminum for this effect. You can dry brush it on the entire chassis. That would bring out all the small nuts and bolts. Or you can paint the scratch with a small brush. Just remember to only focus on the edges and the corners where scratches will most likely take place. And also pay attention to the original material of the part. If the part is metal, then you can chip it using silver paint. If the part is plastic, then the base material would be most likely black. For instance, the bumper of the GTR is made of plastic. If I was to paint the chips, I would be using black paint. But for this particular model, I didn't even need to paint them. It's already molded in black. All I had to do was to scrape the paint off the bumpers. You might have already heard of chipping medium. It's pretty useful for creating large areas of chips. It's pretty easy to use. All you have to do is paint it over the base color before applying the top coat of your choice. Once it's dried, you can use water to reactivate it. One thing to keep in mind is that the top coat has to be acrylic based or water based because the chipping medium is water soluble. If you paint lacquer over it, you will seal it off completely and not be able to chip it with the water later on. I mostly built semi-modern Japanese cars, so I haven't had a chance to utilize it fully. But if you build old American muscle cars with a lot of paint chips, then you should definitely give it a try. If you plan on building a car that has severe damages, sooner or later you're gonna have to know how to make dents and dings. Creating dents on plastic models is somewhat risky, but it can be done with a few tools. Before taking all your tools out, you need to determine where you want a dent to be and the size of the dent. To make the dent, I first use a rotary tool to grind down the plastic on the back of the shell to the point where I could easily push it and create a dent. After that, I put the shell in hot water to soften it. I wouldn't recommend using a heat gun or a lighter because the high heat might destroy the plastic. For the small dings, you can push it in using a pointy object. For the larger ones, you could just use your fingers. Don't worry if you accidentally push too hard and crack the plastic. In reality, if the dent is too deep, it would usually crack the paint around it. Once I'm happy with the look, I then apply super glue to hold it in shape. If you want to make it look like the rust has eaten through the metal, you could just apply some plastic cement on the back of the dent. The thinner in the glue will slowly melt through the plastic, making it look like a rusty hole. Creating dents on plastic models is a fun process, but it will really test your patience, so make sure to have that relaxing music playing in the background. And here is my favorite part of weathering, making rust. I love making rusty parts on cars. The easiest way to create rust is by soaking fine steel wool in vinegar for a week or two. The vinegar will slowly attack the steel, turning it into rust eventually. This rust making recipe will give you real and authentic rust. It was my go-to rust paint for exhaust and mufflers. I had been using mine for a couple of years before it's completely dried up. The pros of this method is that you don't need to use any paints. However, if you don't have any patience to cook your own rust, you could just use paint. I used a combination of gray, white, and a few different rust tones for the muffler on this A86 coupe. These are acrylic paint and they are easy to work with. Other than using acrylic paint, I also apply some rust tone pastel powder on top of it. The powdery texture makes the rust look even more realistic. Pastel powder has become my favorite material for creating rust because it's easy to apply and easy to clean up. If you don't like the look, just simply dunk it in household cleaner and start over. Another way to create rust on larger areas is to simply paint it on with acrylic rust colors. For this abandoned super build, I painted the whole hatch in flat brown. I didn't even use thinner, so the paint particle was thick and chalky, which was exactly what I wanted for the rust texture. When you are weathering with rust, you want to create some randomness in this rusty part, so try to paint it using different shades of brown. If the entire part is painted in one smooth layer of brown, the part would just be flat. You can also do spot rusting, which is basically painting the rust with a brush on certain spots on the model. When you are doing spot rusting, try to focus on places where rust will logically form. Areas like the fenders, the corners on the roof, and the trunk lid will most likely suffer from rust damage. If you are not sure where to apply rust and you don't know who to ask, the internet is your best friend. There isn't much weathering to do for the window other than making it look dusty. For an abandoned project that has been stationary for years, I generally use Tamiya flat earth and deck tan to imitate dust on the windows. You're gonna need an airbrush for this task. I usually set it at a very low pressure, somewhere around 5 psi, and I don't even thin the paint, so it will be chalky and dusty, which is exactly what I want. A couple of light passes will do the trick. If you want to add some additional characters to your build, you could use a toothpick to break up the surface and make it look more natural. Adding more scribbles and random shapes will make it look more visually interesting. If you're building a running vehicle with operational windshield wipers, you could simply mask off the tracks where the windshield wipers travel before laying down the dust paint. Anytime I worked on anything that is either abandoned or abused, I would also apply a few coats of dust on the exterior, but that's usually the last step of the process. If you don't want to deal with paints and thinners, then there is this one product you might be interested in trying out. It's Tamiya's Weathering Master, specifically the Pack D. I love using this on chassis and exhaust when I first started building models. These are super easy to apply. It comes with a tiny applicator and costs about $10 each. But I will let you in on a little secret. These are basically makeup palettes your girlfriend uses. If you have a girlfriend, then you can probably borrow hers. But if you are a street racer, and of course street racers don't need girlfriends, then you can just buy them for $1 at the dollar store. which is what I do. Well, who has time for a girlfriend when you have 10 model cars waiting for you to build, right? Unlike building military models, model cars are usually presented in brand new condition, so weathering is not really a skill set you need to acquire, but it's still good to know some of the basic techniques and logics behind it. So go ahead and give it a try. Next time you start a project, try to give it a backstory. Give it some rust, make it dusty, paint the door a different color, or make the tires look worn. Well, you know what they say, a clean car gets you the trophy, but a dirty car tells the story. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you have any tips or tricks on weathering or how to build better models, you're welcome to share them in the comments. Happy building, guys. I will see you in the next one.